أنت لك والملك لا شريك لك
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Deen love viewers, today we have with us our astonishing guest. You guys know he's a regular here, or he was, but Dunya comes
All right.
and we're all doing other things as well off of the cameras that people don't know about. May Allah accept. Ali Deen, how you doing, man?
Alhamdulillah, I'm doing good, man. And you're right, man. Doing your stuff kind of gets in the way sometimes, You can see my hair grew out a little bit more crazier. I got a gray beard now, alhamdulillah. Things start to change, and you gotta embrace the change if it's good for you, and if it's bad, man, you be patient through it.
No. Couldn't say it any better.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, anyways, guys, today we want to talk about something very, very interesting. I was reading an article today on Community Research Institute.org, and they were talking about how apathetic the Generation Z is, Gen Z.
Gen Z community.
Okay. And apathy means to just not care. You are desensitized. You don't have any sort of, you have less emotions or concern towards things that most people should, It's kind of like your humanistic characteristics. This is one of the things the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sent with when Allah, he said to him, verily a prophet, a messenger has been sent to you, right? And Allah, he describes in this verse, he says, harisun alaykum. He feels the pain because he's very concerned with you. وَبِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ رَؤُوفٌ رَحِيمٌ. And with the believers, he is ra'uf. He's kind, he's generous, he's very concerned, compassionate, rahim, merciful towards the believers. And so these are the characteristics that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said the Prophet was sent to the ummah with, right? From amongst us. He came from amongst us. We're human beings, right?
Right.
And more specifically from the Arabs.
Right.
But he came with this as a messenger, and he is لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. The Prophet ﷺ, he is the best example for us to follow. Okay? He's the most moderate example for us to follow and to take as an ummah. And so if these are the desired traits, if these are the encouraged traits that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he highlights for us, what do you think is causing this apathy? Now, before you answer that question, back to this article, it was talking about how social media was the main cause. But what do you think about social media causes our youth, right? Because our Muslim youth are a part of this too.
Right.
What do you think it causes them? Why do you think it causes them to be more apathetic?
Great question. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu salamu ala rasulillah, amma ba'd. So the thing about social media is it provides resources, good or bad and ugly, at the tip of your finger.
Yeah.
Lots of times it is used in a negative position. Folks like to get on social media just to pass time. Is this existence of infinite loop of infinite scrolling, where you see, you may be interested in one thing, and then the cycle or the algorithm will make it so that all these things surrounding that particular topic of interest just is thrown at you, and you get caught in the mix of that.
Yeah.
And there's no way to pull out, right? So, for example, if you let's say you're thinking about like music, or you're thinking about women, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Sometimes your social media is set up so that whenever you get on there, they'll show you one thing. And if you engage with it, meaning if you watch something for, let's say 10, 20 seconds, they have a time limit on it, or a threshold that you have to meet.
Right.
And once it notices that, then it says, hey, we need to continue to feed this to this person's timeline or feed or whatever.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times it's a negative thing that comes from social media. People are not on social media, searching up how to be an engineer and how to, program and code and,
Yeah.
save humanity. That's very rare.
SubhanAllah.
So people see this wave of like others around their age group promoting things that are not necessarily good for the ummah, and that entails like how someone should interact with just living, right? And so this causes people to follow. Again, we talk about the sheep mentality, right? People follow whatever they see, and so there's only a group of people that can lead, and then there's a bunch of people behind them, right, that follow along with that crowd. And subhanallah, like you're saying, it's causing them to become super careless, right? Even there's been conversations about corporate world, like people working in jobs. Nobody want to work 9 to 5 anymore and stuff like that. People are like, the Gen Z community are like, bro, we're done with this. It's because they have these resources in their hands. And so whenever you see an influencer, because there's a social media influencer,
Yeah.
right, saying do certain things this way, people tend to follow, and it's subhanallah, it's bad for the ummah, it's bad for the Muslimin out there, those who are trying to strive to become better, because once they get caught in that wave, that tsunami of stuff, there's no pulling out of it.
You know what's interesting? Another thing this article also mentions is it talks about how social media was for first the supposed intent of it when it first started. Then it talks about how the millennials interacted with it.
Right,
It was
right.
much different.
Way
You
way
remember,
different, of course.
right? We were like the lab rats.
Yeah.
For Instagram and Facebook.
Right. Yeah.
So for us, I mean, the intent that the article mentions, the supposed intent,
Yeah.
was first like to connect with people in
Absolutely.
long distance. There's people all over the world, France, Africa, Asia, all
Yeah.
these different places that there are people that you can connect with. Even Facebook, I think the first like motto says connect with friends and family and all this, right?
Right.
And so for us, that was like the main cause,
Yeah.
which meant like even though there was an aspect of consumption and content,
Yeah.
it was mainly there was still like meaningful relationships.
Right. Right.
Right, your top 5 friends. I think Instagram had something like that
A
at
little
first,
while,
right?
maybe. Yeah.
Maybe your top friends, like
Yeah.
that stuff mattered.
Yeah.
People fight over it. Hey man, I'm not your top friend anymore. Yeah, and so it meant something.
Yeah.
But now it's just like consumption of content,
Yeah.
of characters,
SubhanAllah.
right? Content creators.
Yeah.
And another thing that the article also mentioned is that the people, most of the Gen Z, they view these content creators not as real people, but just like movie actors. Just that one guy. Oh, you know him. It's like that, right?
Yeah.
They don't view them as actual human beings, right? Which, as well as much of the things that they view on there. Imagine, I want to get to something too, as well, is that the Gen Z prioritizes, according to this article, which the reason I'm referring to it is because if you read it,
Yeah.
you'll see a lot of things that you'd be like, yeah, that's true. Gen Z prioritizes more privacy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they want more media privacy.
Okay.
Right? If you see, there's a lot of apps that are created
Yeah.
to block you or to protect you from being viewed
Correct.
when you're searching other people's profiles and things like that.
Yeah.
And you can see who unfollowed you and this without them knowing.
Right.
So in that kind of way, we prefer that sort of privacy, which is interesting. But with our generation, it was more kind of like, you know what? We try to be more discreet.
Yeah.
We were a little bit more discreet. The stuff that we put out there,
Yeah.
were more discreet. We didn't put our information all out there like that, right? It was like, you put up a picture. Sometimes you had like a fake name or something, and you kind of got away with that.
Yeah.
But now it's like it's a weird mixture between this is what's happening all my life. This is my family. This is my dog. This everything.
Yeah.
At the same time, they are totally invested in not having like real communication with people.
Yeah.
So it just became like another place to escape, like
Absolutely.
a drug. You know,
Yeah.
what do you think about that?
Great point. Great point. Allah reward you. That is
Allah
a
Akbar.
very good point because here's the thing with the Gen Z community, like you're saying, they live two different identities. There's their real life identity, right, where they go to school, they have to interact with people, and then there's the other identity, which is when they're on social media,
Is there a persona?
they can be whoever they want to be on there, right? The same maybe tough guy on social media is not the same guy that you see
Yeah.
in person, right? They don't act up. You can become a troll on there. You can view things that you're curious about without someone judging you really and telling you, hey, but what you doing? It looks weird. Like, for example, I remember Twitter. There's a you can check your feed. You can look at someone's media, what they post up, but there's also the likes that you can see.
Yeah.
And then right now there's a lot of complaints that people are putting out. Like the communities are saying we don't want others to see what we like because it's exposing them, right? For example, if someone is acting quote unquote religious or doing something correct, and then they're on there and they're a whole different person, people can kind of see it, right? So back in the day when Facebook was really popular with our community and our generation, it's been like you're saying, authentic and more cautious to display what you want to display, engage with whoever you want to engage with. It was kind of like new and open, and it was an experiment to understand how the world of the internet, the world of social media worked. Now that it's been so often, changing and moving around, the psychological aspect kicked in,
Yeah.
which is understanding that people have a dopamine level and we need to continue to feed that dopamine level. Because once you hit, like, I guess that wall, which is like, I've seen this before, I've seen something similar to it. Now we need to,
That's
raise the
crazy.
bar
Yeah,
and make
yeah.
the people come up and catch it again. So
SubhanAllah.
subhanAllah, right now, folks are falling into those traps and don't even notice it. Sometimes that's what I mean by infinite scrolling.
Yeah.
If you don't understand what that is, it's just going constantly just scrolling through your feed, and then next thing you know, it's an hour has passed, 2 hours has passed, and then you're like, it didn't even feel like I've been on social media that long. So subhanAllah, these people are falling into these traps and not catching themselves. And this is how you get them to, act different, purchase something different, fall into, a rabbit hole of just like the worst of the worst being fed to you. And it's almost too late because people, become depressed, suicidal, lose sight of socially interacting with people in physical environments and stuff like that. And all these other, negative aspects are kicking in, subhanAllah.
I think also, mind you, people. Well, like, it's crazy to know that a lot of these guys were not even like born when Barack Obama became president.
Yeah,
You know,
that's a good point.
they don't know about
Yeah.
that. They don't know how different that was for us.
Yeah.
So mind you, when we were on social media,
Yeah.
it was a time where even LOL and stuff like that
Didn't exist. Yeah.
Like, people had to really spell. Like,
Yeah.
you needed to spell something.
Yeah.
Now, there are those gang members and all that, the thugs who wrote like with like every other letter was a capital and
So
stuff
shut
like
up.
that.
Yeah.
But most of the people, like, they really spelt it. Like, it was
Yeah.
like conversations like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
Sorry I couldn't get back to you. But now you could just replace all that with W,
Yeah.
Y, D.
Where you at? What you doing?
And I, K, Y, K.
Yeah.
It's just, it's like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
So, but another important point that you pointed out, that you highlighted, was that it's consumerism, not only of content,
Yeah.
but consumerism of money, because you're gonna pay for stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So a lot of these content creators too also are promoting.
Mm-hmm.
They are, sponsored
Yeah.
by certain people.
Absolutely.
Prime. They're sponsored by, Nike and Adidas and all these things. So again, the powers that be in the higher up corporations
Yeah.
would love us to consume more,
Yeah.
because for them that means more money.
Money in the pocket.
This is why even content creators are given money
Mm-hmm.
for how many people they can bring in. It's kind of like
Yeah.
slave catchers or something. You know what I'm saying?
Great point.
They just go, it's like, here, this is how much I got for you.
I got a couple of them for you. Yeah.
So every time you look at how many people are following, that's like, how many people could you offer up to some big corporation?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's because if I'm watching, I put myself in a position where if I'm a consumer, I'm watching someone, a content creator, social media influencer, whatever. I don't know this person from like I cannot,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I don't know them, but the thing is, somehow I would trust that whatever they're promoting is good for me
Right.
because it must have put them in a great position, right? I believe that they're successful because of whatever it is, this item, this product, this service that they're trying to sell me, and so I trust this individual, and for them to trust that product or quote unquote portray it as it's something that they trust, I'm gonna go and get it, not knowing that they probably don't use it, and if they
probably-
do, it's free to them, right? The company that's providing it for them, that's asking them to promote it, may give them a care package, right? A bunch of whatever it is, maybe water or something.
You ever get some of those?
Man, I get them in the DM, but I don't even give them that attention, man. These people, so it's you'll fall into it. And I'm just something crazy coming to my mind, but I don't think it's important to speak of that right now. So but yeah, so consumers or the people who are like indulging in social media so much, the Gen Z community especially, they don't see that. That's why online shopping is way more popular than being in person.
Oh my God.
Malls have declined in terms of people coming and shopping and buying. You see Black Friday today. There's no one lined up at the door anymore.
That's crazy. I actually saw that recently at Walmart. People were just buying TVs casually as grocery.
The left and right, man. They don't need to go to the to actually show up. They'll bring it to their door right
Age
now.
of Amazon.
Cyber Mondays and Prime Days and all this stuff. So they're promoting it on social media. So if you don't even have to get up physically, make the move to get out of your house and make the decision, and it's right at your fingertip, life has become a lot more simpler and easier.
This is a great point.
Yeah.
That this kind of lifestyle they're trying to make for us more comfortable. And I think that damages us more in the long run.
Yeah.
If you don't even need to get up. I mean, they're coming up with everything to make it more convenient for you. And that's only beneficial to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Once you need like a robot to cook for you.
Okay, yeah.
In the kitchen, that's a problem.
Yeah, it's already in the works.
Yes,
it's already in the works.
Artificial intelligence,
it's already in the works.
And so now I want to move to the next part. You kind of alluded to it, which is sins. Sins have become more accessible. What I mean by that from the social media perspective is, man. I think, remember Twitter, it never used to show certain content.
Correct.
It would not. If you put it on there, it would take it. It wouldn't allow you.
Yeah.
That now you can see the worst of the worst things on Twitter. The things that you would need to go and hide, and it's there. Sometimes you're not even looking for it; just pops up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Facebook. Same issue with Facebook.
Yeah.
Instagram is now moving towards that, although they do have some sort of restrictions. But it's like everything is at your fingertips, and it's at the same time they're telling us that this is not healthy for us, but they're giving it to us.
Yeah,
I think of it as an analogy of cigarettes. When the cigarette companies were told in the UK and the United States that in order to sell cigarettes, you need to write on your packages, this product will kill you.
Right.
So
Surgeon General said this.
Yes. They didn't hesitate because they knew how hooked people were in. Already.
Yeah.
They were already addicted. So they said they're going to buy this no matter what. It can show you how you're going to die in the video on that package. You'll still buy it. Still.
You
know what I'm saying? So it's like they already got us hooked on this drug that they know people are not going to pull off. I think we had a discussion, me, you, and Najib, about boycotting. What is that looking like now? Let's revisit that. Boycotting social media. How practical is that?
Impossible, almost damn near impossible, man, because it's what goes on in the homes and behind closed doors. Rather, we could be talking right now, and I can use social media. You wouldn't even
That's
know.
it.
So there's no way to
That's
boycott it. The thing is, let's just talk about even in America itself, how the things that we know as haram have become halal at one point.
Yeah.
Because if you look at marijuana recently, right, it's becoming recreational. They're allowing it to become halal or quote unquote allowed in the U.S. country. Alcohol at 1.2 was not was
Yeah.
illegal,
Prohibition.
right? Was illegal. I think it's the 18th Amendment that allowed it to become for folks, consumers to use it and be able to sell it and whatnot. What else? Even the use of pornography and stuff like that has become so accessible today, and there's no one stopping anyone. They may put, just like you said, on the cigarette label, do not use it, right? These pornography websites will say, are you 18 years old, or please stay away. But who's stopping a 15-year-old kid who's just now getting to understand what puberty is like and trying to understand what adulthood is like, and is expected to get married at some point? He becomes curious and is like, what is this world? And it gets hooked on. And so they're not making it illegal. They're not disapproving it. They're just saying things out of the blue. But there's schools right now that are allowing sort of these graphical
Yeah,
images,
well, that's true.
in their books and stuff, and no one is doing anything about it.
Yeah.
And so that's the problem that that people, Muslims, mu'mins, are trying to fight against, and even strong Orthodox Christians and folks of those respective backgrounds are trying to fight as well, but having a hard time, man, having a hard time.
SubhanAllah.
Yeah,
So the next point I want to talk about is the ramifications
yeah,
of too much use. And I would say, and I know some people are thinking like, well, isn't there positive? Yes, there's positive. We don't want to really focus on that because obviously the negative outweighs the positive,
of course.
right? We're not telling anybody per se that they are using it negatively, but we know what happens.
Yeah.
We know, we can see, we have eyes. How does this affect our relationship with family? How
Yeah.
does this affect our relationship with other people, getting to meet people?
Yeah.
How does this, our ability to communicate, going to dinner with people, in restaurants, and the phone usage, in the masjid,
Yeah, I
phone
was thinking
usage.
about that.
How does this affect our ability to, restrict ourselves to these gadgets and these, gadgets?
Yeah.
How does that affect our ability to communicate with people and the ability to think for ourselves?
Great question. Great question. The first point is, like you mentioned, the whole point of social media at one point was that we can talk to someone in another country, have communications with someone over a long period of time if we wanted to, and just engage with people. And we used to usually do it in the beginning was our circle as well, right? We used to hang out with our friends at school and whatnot, and then we can go home and just laugh and talk about things when text messaging wasn't so much available for us, and FaceTiming at one point wasn't available. But today, the market for being on social media surpasses human interaction. So you would think how a brother who is seeking marriage, the positive side, he may look for someone in a whole nother country and being able to marry her, or trying to talk to someone in a different state or whatever. But the negative side always outweighs in terms of now he sees social media saying that he needs to put up a 50K meher. He needs to have a house, car, vacation, all these things ready for marriage. And so he thinks that that's okay. And a sister is looking just exactly for that as well, because this is what they're being told to look for. So they can't even interact, the way it should be, the halal way, the community-oriented way, where it used to be the father or so would know of another man that he's friends with who has a daughter and say, my son is from a religious, good character background, and I think he's a right fit for your daughter. And so being able to go and doing it a very clean, a way that's pleasing to Allah, knocked out of the window. And then you have these two who are now married, don't even know how to interact with each other. Right?
Antisocial.
Yeah, super. He wants he top priority is beauty. So makeup has to be enforced in her, dressing a certain way that she uncovers her body, makes him very happy because he sees it all day on social media. A woman that is not dressed appropriately, going through his feed every day, he looks at his wife and says she doesn't even look anything remotely,
Subhanallah.
can't
Catfish.
compete.
Is that
Ha.
catfish?
Yeah. And then in the opposite, the sister is expecting the brother to be, wealthy out of college or even out of high school, and supposed to provide everything that, that a rich man, is struggling with today. And so now they're clashing heads and families are at it. And, the list goes on, subhanAllah. Ya billah. So a lot of these things is going on. And unfortunately, no one is like limited it. They can tell you, hey, we could put restrictions, for your children and whatnot on social media. I think the ultimate solution is to cut out social media to the kids. Avoid it altogether.
First of all, if you have kids,
Yeah.
they shouldn't even have a phone.
Yeah.
I think I got my first phone like at maybe 17, 18.
Same, yeah.
And then even then it was like a BlackBerry sort of
Yeah.
flip it out. And today these guys, 13-year-old kids walk around with iPhone 14 Pro Max. It's
8-year-old
what is
kids,
this-
man,
what is this
elementary
crazy,
kids.
man.
Yeah.
So we are giving them this drug.
Yeah.
You can say maybe people that are older they know how to use it.
Yeah.
They're responsible in the sense that they know what they're doing.
Right.
The young people, they don't know. And so pretty much the content that they're consuming is consuming them.
Yeah.
It's just eating them up, and they don't know it. So by the time they get to the age where they're supposed to be seeking for a spouse and getting serious about their life,
Yeah.
serious about their deen, they can't.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have any social capabilities.
Right.
Right. They can't speak to anyone. They don't know how to talk. They're socially awkward.
Yeah.
I found that the people that have the most social media flag or all this stuff, they're the most awkward people
In person,
in
right?
person.
Right.
to deal with. And so we can't have even full conversations without flipping out these devices.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
Yeah.
It's a big problem. Okay. And then the last thing I want to talk about is how this relates to what's going on in the world. Atrocities, Gaza Strip,
Yeah.
Palestine. I've noticed that, I have classes that I teach. Sometimes I show them, some of the atrocities that happen.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are just like either laughing
Mm.
or they go like, oh, I've seen worse. That's it. So it's like they're so like it's really inhumane, bro.
Yeah.
It's really inhumane. And that's the sad part, because sometimes I know we're like really focused on, hey, we got to do this for Gaza. We have to do this for the Palestinians. We have to do this for the Muslims, Somalia, everywhere. But the sad part is at least they feel the pain. They
Absolutely.
feel. They can feel. They're
Right.
humans.
Yeah.
Us, on the other hand, we look for like a movie. We look for entertainment out of this.
Mm-hmm.
It's a sad thing to say that even it's possible that even a large sector of the Gen Z may be even sadistic, right? Because now they enjoy to see, oh, let me see, oh, yo, look at his head, oh, look at his body, oh, right? And so, like, what does that do to a person in the long run?
So they're calling it's like a type of gore or something, right? I don't know what they call it nowadays, but movies have been drawing people to see, bloodshed and all this stuff, but to be able to see it in real life or on social media, it's a different kind of thing. And so more people are comfortable behind their phones, are comfortable behind a screen where it's protected, right? Being in a country where we don't have war over here, we're usually going to a different country and seeing it. It's easy to consume it and let it affect us long term, right? Unfortunately, on the other side is they become so desensitized. It becomes a norm to them that they're not, taken back by it, right? Their breath is not taken and saying subhanallah, or we need to help, we need to make any changes. It's more, I've seen this, I've seen it all, show me something worse.
Yeah, that's very
Let
sad.
me see something worse than
it's
it.
like up it up for me.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is
make
this is
it.
all news, and it's real stuff. It's not even like
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
SubhanAllah.
It's real life. But subhanallah, like, may Allah first have mercy on those who've passed away in
Ameen,
Palestine,
ameen,
and
ameen, ameen.
give shafat to the ones that are injured. A lot of times social media is just, it just feeds you these contents to just, keep you engaged.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What are tangible, activities that are being done that are helping to, stop what's going on over there?
SubhanAllah.
It's just a feed again. A brother may donate $20 or $100, and then he moves on. He's like, okay, I've seen this yesterday. I've seen this, and that in itself is a way to get those who are consuming social media to just look and do nothing about it tomorrow.
Yep.
Because how this happening today, 2022, 2023, then a few years may pass where it's calm, or a little ceasefire that happens, then it picks up again. Then it's like we've been here before.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about just even our discussion,
Yeah,
this whole time they were working on how to desensitize us.
yeah,
Now these really major, issues are happening in the world, and so guess what?
yeah,
No wonder. This is how we are.
Yeah.
What do you think are some solutions? I know you mentioned already to cut it off,
yeah.
right? What would you say? What else would you say in terms of solutions? Because now we need to be more solution oriented. When you
Yeah.
see there's an issue, there's a problem,
Right.
right? What do you think is the solution
The solution to social media, or okay.
to the issues of that social media is causing?
SubhanAllah, there's a lot of different ways you can go about it. I think it's customized to each environment, depending on who you're speaking to. If you're talking about someone who, at some degree can be said is long gone, then they need to cut it off or minimize as much as they can to a point where they can cut it off. I think a teenager right now who's consuming it so much needs to work on not going cold turkey with it, but minimizing it to a point where they can cut it off and said social media is
And
going.
probably having an alternative too.
Yeah,
In terms of, and then we always say this. Really, this is the main message: seek knowledge. Bro.
yeah, absolutely.
When you seek knowledge, a lot of things happen for you. Allah He puts barak in your life. He protects you. Seeking knowledge, He actually he gives you the opportunity to find what people all over the world are looking for right now, which is peace,
Right,
which is solace.
right.
They're looking for this solace that they can't find on social media.
Mm.
They think that pressing likes and getting retweets and
Yeah.
shares and friends ultimately is going to give them this happiness.
Yeah,
But what it does for them is it just makes them do it more.
Mm.
It makes them consume more. But seeking knowledge and seeking your, to fulfill your purpose of life, what
Yeah.
it does for you is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows you to taste the true pleasure,
right.
right? Ala bi dhikrillahi tatma'innul qulub. Allah, He says, is the dhikr of Allah and His remembrance that the hearts find ease and tranquility, right? And I wish that more of us really believed in verses like that in terms of following up on it
Yeah,
and actually acting upon them,
of course.
right? But Allah already tells us about happiness, because happiness is one of the things that people try to chase after. And you mentioned the whole dopamine and stuff. And so it's a feel-good effect.
Yeah,
And they confuse that with what happiness is supposed to be.
right,
But it's no different from someone who's taking drugs.
right. Now, I just wanted to, from a young person who has that, who's searching for that answer.
Yeah.
They may say, well, I can find it on social media, right? I can go to YouTube and watch a video. Is that the solution, to do it that way, or is human interaction
See,
better?
This is a great point, because our Deen emphasizes on interacting live.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this idea, Zoom's made a lot of money in COVID,
Yeah, it did.
right? Remember, the stocks went up. Now it's crashing down. But they made a lot of money because people actually got to stay in the comfort of their own home, consume more content,
Yeah.
right? But now that business meeting could just be on Zoom. That class could be on Zoom. That everything could be on Zoom.
Yeah.
And there's something I think that contributes more to the problem. But Islamic, like when you get to Islamic traditions, there's a heavy emphasis on finding teachers, sitting at the feet of scholars, learning with people. You know what I'm saying? Even learning the Quran.
Yeah.
I know some people, they do like on Zoom and whatever, but it's much better to be in the presence.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because in that way, the teaching is more effective. The learning
Absolutely.
is more effective.
Yeah.
And that connection will be more effective.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're between you and the screen,
Yeah.
you know, and you don't know what else somebody's doing once they turn off their screen. And they just, I'm listening. These guys cooking, whipping it up in the kitchen. You see? And you can't learn like that.
Yeah.
You can't learn like
Yeah.
that. So when you seek knowledge, and you need to give it your full undivided attention.
Absolutely.
When doing so.
Yeah.
Right? The Prophet ﷺ, the Sahaba, they said that when we used to sit with the Prophet Muhammad, we used to sit and birds could sit on our shoulders. That's how still they were and attentive.
Yeah.
Today, if you just try to tell a young guy about hadith,
Yeah.
he cannot sit still
Fit
for
it,
more than a minute.
Yeah.
You know, so these are all symptoms of a greater problem.
Absolutely.
You see?
Absolutely.
And so Jazakallah khair, man, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Would you want to add anything else to this
Absolutely.
discussion? There's a lot
Really
more
short.
we could say.
I know.
Subhanallah.
Inshallah, I'm going to keep it short. You just made a great point right there. That question really is something that sits on the tongue of a lot of people, or in the back of their mind is that, you know, I do want to get better, but they're going up against, you know, the shayateen that, you know, promotes a lot of this stuff on social media. You
It's
know,
not easy, but
it definitely not. I mean, you know, you can be, you know, seeking knowledge on your phone, but as easy as it is to access that, it's much easier to access everything else. The protagonist has the antagonist right there, right? The disease and the cure in the same place, and it's hard to fight it. And so you made a great point. I think even like when you like I felt this at one point, and you may agree with me, is that even when you read the Quran from your phone,
it's not the same.
It's not the same as the
not the
Mus'haf.
same.
It does not feel the same.
Oh my
right?
God.
It's easy on your phone to pull it up immediately, but I promise you, having the kitab, the Mus'haf in your hand feels a lot more closer to the strength of your iman, and noticing that, you know, it means more to you in that sense. I can turn my phone off, but you cannot turn the Mus'haf off. Right?
That's facts.
You cannot turn it off. So I just wanted to add that point. I think seek knowledge in person. Whenever you hear of halaqats and you know in Somali muhadarats and things of those, you know, going on in the community, attend it.
Yes.
And I think you know, there's a saying that, you know, there's angels who go around looking for those who are remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And going back and report it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and let him know that there's folks out there who are actually in gatherings like this who are remembering you, and Allah, you know, blesses, you know, gatherings like that, alhamdulillah. So go out and seek that, go out and continue to promote that and share that, and I promise you, inshallah, that your life will turn around.
Naam. And this is really, guys, this is the mission of our life. فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرُكُمْ وَاشْكُرُوا وَلَا تَكْفُرُونَ. This is what Allah's call is: remember Him. Sometimes you'll forget, and that's, you know, it's a part of being human. But that's why dhikr is called dhikr, to remember what you've forgotten, right? We all forget. We all have times where we're much lower than what we are. We have times where we're really high in our iman. The most important thing to do is always go back. You know, make that tawbah. Always remember when you forget. When others forget, remind them, right? And so this is the call of our life. And this talk about social media and the illnesses that are connected to it are illnesses like in many different other aspects of life as well, right? Social media is not the only drug out there. but we always have to remember that the solution for us is easy. We just got to follow it through. And that's what we have for you today. We made it short. Inshallah, we ask Allah to accept from all of us and to assist our brothers and sisters and the oppressed all over the world, Palestine and everywhere else. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.